Hello, welcome to my first build. It's going to be a really easy one. My couch has a very large gap behind it from when we have it pushed against the wall, for example. And I have a lot of old pallet wood that we collected from around the area, just like this very large piece right here. It's about 3/4 of an inch by 8'6", really long. As you can see, there's a lot of staples in it, and staples and nails. So I'm going to have the nails taken out of it, and I'm going to cut it down to size, which was 6'8" by 3.5 inches, and I'm going to probably stain it and fill in any of these little knot holes here, and just have a quick and easy fix. Alright, so let's get started. I have a hammer, a little pry bar, a couple of little pliers here. It was put together with these really crappy staples. Best thing I recommend is just hitting it with a hammer a bunch and pull it out the other end with your pair of pliers. Really simple, not too hard. So let's go. So you will eventually run into ones that don't want to come out. Best thing to do is just try really hard. Okay, so when it comes to these really bent up nails, just try to straighten them the best you can and try hammering them out. It does not always work. So you just hold your pliers and start hammering very lightly. Now I like to just have it braced in the center. This way, when the board moves a little bit, it kind of gives that little wiggle to the nail. Some people like to have a firm grip on it. It depends on the wood, the day, if I feel like doing it. Anyway, there are two schools. Alright, so to the other side, you can see I got some nails up, so I can just wiggle it back and forth and it comes right out. So just to give an example, this is one of the ones that did not want to come out. One of the easy ways, another easy way you could do this is just try straightening it out and hold it together like this and gently start to hammer it out, and it works. Most of the time. So I figured I'd show the other way of taking out the nails. This is the completely viced way. So you have it nice and tied up on a vise. I use a one of the portable table vices, and you just kind of bend it in place and hammer away. Whoa! Always make sure your vices are tight. The real issue is the fact that it rained, and it's now 70 degrees on Christmas Eve. So that is playing havoc with all this wood. It's now sopping wet, and it's not very fun to work with. I mean, it does make taking these nails out a little easier. So as you can see here, this is what happens when you work with pallets. These are some of the outer cuts of the trees when they cut them down. That's why there's the most knots. It's usually the rounded edge of the tree, and you can see they just scraped off the bark. A lot of times you'll find bark on it still, kind of like right here. Most of the time there's either pine or oak. They use oak because of the strength. It's a really good supply when it comes to making stuff. You just have to deal with a lot of knots. You can use any kind of a wood filler or anything like that. If it is a very small one, some of the big ones just kind of avoid and hope for the best. They do have knot fillers out there. You know, there's wooden pegs where you could just drill out the hole and then put a peg in its place, similar to the way they deal with plywood. But it all depends on what you're trying to do. This is just a little piece that's going to go behind the couch, so I'm going to try to cut it to the length and try to avoid most of these big holes here, and try to avoid this because it doesn't go all the way to the end here. Now, I like to cut right on the outside of the line, so it just makes it on the outside of that line, and it's a little hard to tell with the shadow, so that's where I like to start. Alright, so this is why you keep the little scrap bits that cut off. So you want your saw to come up just past it, just a hair, and that should be enough. I usually try to do about a 1/16 to a 1/8 of an inch, because any more than that, you're going to start getting these teeth caught up and giving it more chance to kick back on you, and you just really don't want that. So we got our height set. All right, so we have our 3.5 inches, and we're going to just loosen up the fence, move it ever so slightly so it's just past. I know the angle on the camera looks a little off, but it is true. So when you're using a second-hand, actually I think this is a third-hand tool, some of the pieces are a little old and inexact, just given the age. So you want to make sure that when you have the fence set to your measurement, you have it squared up. So if you have it nice there, it's actually nice and true there. This is a little harder, and this part's just bent from time, but it is actually true if you look at the top there. Anyway. So as you can see, thanks to it being pallet wood, or low grade quality, it isn't exactly the correct height all the way through. Alright, so this is the finish edge I was going for. As you can see, you got a nice round edge. All those little burrs I'm going to sand off with the orbital palm sander. And all this roughness here I'm going to try to get rid of. This is from the pallet. And this is the top side of the pallet. You can see it's nice and smooth. It's the showpiece, as I like to say, of the pallet. So they like to keep it looking nice. But hopefully I'll sand it off, and it'll be just as smooth as this. And I'll try to get some of this wording off. And it's just a little bit of sandpaper, and whoosh, it'll be gone. So as you can see, it's smoothed out pretty well, and not too dusty. Now, yes, there's some pieces down here. I still have to get that, but this is going to be a showpiece. Like I was saying before, the nice finished edge. There's no more of that stamping visible. I am going to try to fill these holes up with some putty, and then go ahead and stain it, and then eventually put it in. But that's for another video.